Thank you very much for this opportunity to tell you a little about what we're up to in prostate cancer research. I'm sorry that I couldn't be with you this evening and that I've had to send this to you from Cambridge. By way of background, 50% of those assembled here can breathe a sigh of relief. The human male is always trying to assert his unique brand of masculinity. One thing we can be certain of is that all male mammals have a Y chromosome, testosterone, and, yes, you guessed it, a prostate. Indeed, the male appearance or phenotype is uniquely determined by these things. Long before the Human Genome Project reached its conclusions, one woman thought she'd cracked the Y chromosome, identifying certain well-known male characteristics. Well-known, that is, to women. Personally, I don't recognise any of them. Here we have self-confidence, unlinked with ability beside the bullshitting gene, and the anti-stop gene, or refusal to ask for directions. And finally, inability to express affection, the Me Too gene. So, how big a problem is prostate cancer? Well, if a 50-year-old gentleman was to ask me what are his chances of developing prostate cancer, I'd say about 50%. About half of us are going to develop prostate cancer, and this corresponds to well over 1 million men. However, only about 10% of them will ever know about it, and this corresponds to about 100,000 new diagnoses of cancer annually in the UK. And only 1% will die from it. But 1% of a lot of people is a lot of deaths. 10,000 deaths, in fact, each year in Britain. And this diagram highlights the problem of screening the entire male population for prostate cancer and offering them more radical treatment. We need to be more intelligent in trying to identify those cancers that will do badly and offering those cancers radical treatment, while offering low-risk cancers more conservative treatment. I'm sure you've all heard of PSA screening, the prostate-specific antigen test. This is the test that we use to decide which men should proceed to a transrectal ultrasound and biopsy of the prostate. If we wanted to identify all cancers in the male population, we would offer all men biopsies. This is the gold standard test. However, it is not without risk. Approximately 3 or 4% of men will develop a serious infection that will require hospital admission, and 1 in 1,000 will die from it. So we settle for the PSA test. The difficulty is deciding what level to set it at. We could set it low at, say, 1.5, and this means we would pick up almost all prostate cancers, as demonstrated by the yellow fish in this cartoon of the trawler. But we'd also pick up lots of normal prostates, and this is because PSA is put up by lots of things, such as a normally large prostate, to a urinary infection, or indeed even riding a bike. The alternative, and what we actually go for, is to set it higher at around 4. And this way we can be pretty certain that we won't pick up normal prostates. But there's also a danger that we'll miss some prostate cancers. And the real concern is that we miss some nasty cancers. In my opinion, senior gents, as they become more distinguished, should approach their GPs to ask for a PSA to be performed, but they need to be aware of its limitations, and there is a great need for a better test. John Hunter was a West Coast Scot in the late 18th century, thought by many to be the founder of scientific surgery, such that the Royal College of Surgeons in London saw fit to purchase his entire collection of anatomy and instruments, housed here in the Royal College in London. Anyway, John Hunter wrote in this fantastic article in Bibliotheca Asteriana in 1786 that stags have bigger prostates while rutting. And this set the scene for the cornerstone of our treatment for prostate cancer, testosterone deprivation therapy. Cut out the testosterone and the prostate shrinks and any cancer present disappears. But eventually, after about 2 or 3 or even 5 years, the cancer returns. And this is where a lot of us are focusing our attentions to try and discover how that happens so that we can stop it. For those who have smaller prostate cancers that are picked up early and who are fit enough to last the course, we can offer robotic surgery. And this is where we get really excited. Surgeons love gadgets, I'd lay a bet that James Wilson MacDonald is smiling at this point. Anyway, I've got a video clip here to whet your appetite. Here we have the console from which the the robot is controlled. And so here we have the console, here's the patient and the robot, and this is a view inside as we dissect down towards the prostate, dividing tissues, all of this done through a few tiny holes which allows a rapid recovery and return to normal activities such as tennis, golf, and of course Scottish dancing. So, finally, would you mind having prostate cancer? Well, personally, I wouldn't be that bothered. About half of us are going to get it anyway. It's been thought of as a nice cancer, a bit like this little goldfish here. The thing that I'd want to know is my cancer one of the nasty types? These are the ones we need to know about. These are the sharks. These are the cancers that after 2 or 3 years treatment comes back. And this is where millions of pounds is being spent in order to discover why they come back so that we can target them for treatment. So there are two big challenges in prostate cancer. The first is a diagnostic and prognostic challenge. This is about tests. This is about using the PSA test, a helpful test, to our best advantage, while at the same time developing more accurate tests for diagnosing prostate cancer and for detecting those cancers that will come back so that we can target them. And the second is about treatment. This is about developing new treatments specifically to target those tumours that are going to come back. Normally we can treat prostate cancer quite well initially, but we need to understand the mechanisms by which tumours return so that we can target them for destruction. Charities such as Prostate UK are funding research like this, including some work that I did recently, and very little of it would be possible without the generous support of people like yourselves this evening. Thank you very much for listening. I do hope you enjoy the rest of the dancing.